Hi, my name is Susan Wu. I'm in NSBU Product Marketing. And with me, I have Tuan Nguyen. He's in Technical Product Management in NSBU. Today, we're here to talk about VMware Tanzu Service Mesh. We'll give a quick overview and then we'll dive right into the demos. That's what folks love for the code sessions. So just to give everyone a background, the application are being transformed. What used to be monolithic applications where development teams work off the same IDE, check in code at the same time, and do perform testing as in waterfall method, that's been changed largely with the advent of microservices. Now teams have built the services. They can choose their programming language. They can choose their own programming language as well as the database backends, and they're making choices. What's important though is that this gives the teams velocity, feature velocity. They actually no longer have across the different clouds. So there you have it. Let me turn it over to Tuan to give you the demo so you can see the global name.
I have a topology with multi-clouds where I have some application running on AWS, something running on Azure. I have two data centers called SCDC1 and SCDC2, where on pairing with the transit gateway between them and connect them together in the single big enterprises in the multi-cloud. So in this cluster, I'm gonna deploy some Kubernetes. So I have one running on-prem on SCDC1 and using NCP and provided by NSX. Another cluster running Kubernetes on AWS, where I have VMware Antria open source CNI. Another one running Azure with run a third-party CNI, could be anything. So, and then another one running second data centers. So I focus on one of the things running on AWS and showing how easy we can do everything from scratch in one single click, right? And now after that, I gotta walk you through how Tanzu can come in and do the onboardings on those Kubernetes in different environments. And the two things on the demo, the TMC, Tanzu Mission Control, to manage all the cluster in compute and storage. And Tanzu Service Mesh gonna do the networking plumbing for all the clouds together in the layer 7 like Susan just mentioned. Susan, you want any comment before
This is amazing. So you are now able to see the Kubernetes cluster.
That basically you run this command and everything in control. Okay, so this cluster gonna be here. We onboard a new cluster. Basically, when the way you onboard it, you just attach the cluster. You click on here. You choose this is Tanzu Mission Control. You only logging. You choose the full namespace, or you create your namespace. You call it demo file and SVU, and then you put a key description, or you Zoom mission control. Okay, let's onboard it. Okay, so this cluster gonna be here. We onboard a new cluster. Basically, when the way you onboard it, you just attach the cluster. You click on here. You choose this is Tanzu mission control. You only logging. You choose the full namespace, or you create your namespace. You call it demo file and SVU, and then you put a key description, or you register. Basically, you run this command and every single part you have, and when the cluster you have. So I run in new cluster I have. So I run this command. Basically, you go and create a namespace called a VMware TMC namespace, and from there you're gonna connect to Tanzu. So just one single command, and now you're ready to go. And you go to here and you verify the connections, and everything connected. You should see the workspace you just create in the cluster in here. So I have it here. So see that two coming. So number 4 just coming. So when you log in here, you can see just waiting 1 or 2 minutes, it's coming. And then you see the one you just created earlier. So they have all the cluster information. Let me make a full screen. You see everything here. So that's a node, the controllers, everything very nicely presented. There's a version of your Kubernetes, how many nodes running in the namespace. We create one application. So that can go here. That's the Tanzu mission control. They're gonna run to this namespace. They're all services running by Tanzu in your cluster. And from there, it takes you to all the information, right? And then on top of that, you can create a workspace which allow you to group multiple namespace together. So this is the new workspace. It's a logical construct like Susan just mentioned. This is the global namespace in networking. This is for the compute and storage. You can create a workspace and create a new workspace and workspace one, and then you group multiple cluster together, namespace together, so that we can do it.
The workspace concept is a logical concept, and now you can group namespaces.
Yeah, I can group multiple namespace. Tanzu Service Mesh, where Susan just mentioned, right? So we're gonna install now. It's working now. You install the Tanzu Service Mesh after you onboard it. So there, command you run in your cluster here. and then from there you take you to the Tanzu service mesh. When you run it, I only ran it. I would not go again and run again. But basically, when you run it, your cluster should show up in here basically. So let's install service mesh. And during the time, I had another cluster showing already. So let's installing right now. Okay. So when installing, we have that thing is deployed. That's a new cluster. You see that just coming, Susan. And now when you have it installed, that create multiple clusters. We have in this Kubernetes deployed it by Vietnamese. So we have some here in ACME North and ACME South, and we have Istio in this gateway deployed along with the catalog service. And between them, they have the showing all the traffic coming between them and all the latency and performance, things like that. Beginning on how many services been deployed on the catalog services, and all the things have been deployed here, and how many service instances. The cool thing about that is you can see all the detail about your cluster here, right? You can see the system, the heat maps, all kind of things, and the performance key matrix, everything is live demo in here, right? Then you can see infrastructure, you see multiple ton of use cases we developed on top of that. So cool thing about that is the GNS, the global namespace. You want to talk a little bit more about that, Susan?
Yeah, so we explained earlier that the global namespace is a logical concept that you can define it for an application and it becomes a tenancy model for, say, the applications that it makes up the application. Tuan also demonstrated you can examine the amount of time it takes to traverse between the services. So imagine you can define an SLA for entire application traversing through all the services. And if it didn't meet that response time, the system is smart enough to remediate the resources so that it will make the defined time that has been specified by the operator.
So the one we created the default and the new one onboarded the ACME itself, and both them together, we group them as a logical construct. In Kubernetes only have the concept of namespace. The GNS is sitting on top of that to plumbing all the networking between the two namespace or multiple namespace. Here we see that here we can put some conditions and we group all the services together as a single box, and we apply the single policy across multiple Kubernetes clusters, where we are in a unique position can do that. It's a VMware solution part of the Tanzu offering. So when you go here, you can do encryption across multiple namespace. Here, there's an MTLS being encrypted. And then from there, you click next, and you will reveal the whole configuration you've been doing, and you hit finish. And the whole policy, we just go to from step 1 to 5, it can be applied across multiple namespace. I would not do again with that already been done. So that's exactly what we've been showing here in the demo. Yeah, we can go more into that. This is a name global namespace. You see some GUI and some detail about that as well. Yeah. You want to show something, Suzanne? I think that's the heat map. I want to see that exactly.
Yeah, this is great.
That's a real-time traffic coming from outside to our ACME Finet we just deployed earlier. Yeah.
So you can examine the CPU usage of the different services. So example, some of the Redis service might take more CPU or more memory intensive. And then you can also examine the latency so that by looking at the entire transaction, maybe it's certain parts of the application may take more time. And so you can optimize certain parts of the application. But without this type of information, you can't tell where your bottlenecks are. But just from looking at this now, you could see that maybe from the front end to some of the, so you can optimize your services.
Yeah, and you can do more granular with our RB load balancers instead of the default ingress. That right now this is default ingress. It's easy to replace that when and give more visibility, either north, south, or east, west traffic, and traffic coming here to go to the front end and go to load balancing between different things services. You can put a second load balancer to to visualize all the traffic coming here. You see this, the first level is great. Even more detailed RV and other type of services we're offering, we can see even more detailed granular onto that. So when you click on here, one of the services, you see all the dependencies. When the checkout services, go to cart, go to Redis, and how much time it take. In this case, the front end take less time than the back end, where you read all the thing to the memory like Redis here. Right? So that you can go very granular in every service, how much CPU, RAM, resources been consumed on each service. Yeah, very powerful concept.
We talked about deploying the applications across multiple cloud, hybrid cloud as a use case. We actually didn't talk too much about traffic routing. So in software development, there might be times that you're testing a new release of a software, and you might want to direct a part of the application. So you can do that with the software with Tanzu Service Mesh as well. So this is helpful in the software testing, blue-green deployments.
Yeah, the thing is, you have ton of ton here, only 4 clusters running 4 different type of clouds, and connect them together in single pane of glass. We can do a lot of things, automation, pushing policies across multiple clusters on in single click. And also, and we have the yellow part on the CNI plugin provided by VMware and our partners. You can enforce on the policies to the layer 2 and layer 3 and connecting to NSX. If you have an on-prem running or other type of services running in the cloud, you can have the full enforcement from the layer 2, layer 3 is the yellow part, and the blue part can do all the way to layer 7. Very powerful concept, and then across multiple clouds. And we in the unique position can deliver this kind of message to the market, and kind of consistently across the board, multiple clouds is challenging for customer. With the Tanzu Service Mesh is a very powerful concept we can apply for.
Yeah, so it really is the power of that whole portfolio. So you saw Tuan use the Bitnami, which is now called the app catalog. You see, Tanzu Mission Control that allows you to manage multiple Kubernetes clusters. You onboard them, and now in addition, you see Tanzu Service Mesh that helps you with policy and connecting and securing the microservices that are part of the cloud native applications. So we think that the whole portfolio is very powerful in addition to the networking and security functionalities that's from the NSX portfolio. So you also saw NSX Advanced Load Balancer, and you also saw the capability of using a container plugin from either NSX container plugin or even a Project Entrea, which is the open source in cluster. We love telling people about Kubernetes, about Service Mesh,